This is the story of Hugh Hefner, creator of the Playboy empire. Hugh Hefner was born in Chicago on April 9, 1926, the first child of Glenn Lucius Hefner (1896–1976), an accountant, and his wife Grace Carolyn Swanson Hefner (1895–1997), who worked as a teacher. His parents were from Nebraska. He had a younger brother, Keith. His mother was of Swedish ancestry, and his father was German and English. He attended Sayre Elementary School and Steinmetz High School, then served from 1944 to 1946 as a U.S. Army writer for a military newspaper. Hefner graduated from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign in 1949 with a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology and a double minor in Creative Writing and Art, having earned his degree in 2.5 years. After graduation, he took a semester of graduate courses in sociology at Northwestern University, but dropped out soon again. In January 1952, Hefner left his job as a copywriter for Esquire after he was denied a $5 raise. In 1953, he took out a mortgage loan of $600 and raised $8,000 from 45 investors, including $1,000 from his mother, not because she believed in the venture, he told E! In 2006, but because she believed in her son, to launch Playboy, which was initially going to be called Stag Party. The first issue was published in December 1953 and featured Marilyn Monroe from a 1949 nude calendar shoot she did under a pseudonym. That first issue sold more than 50,000 copies, but Monroe was not paid by Playboy or Hefner for the photos. Hefner never met Monroe, but he bought the crypt next to hers at the Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery in 1992 for $75,000, in his words, too sweet an opportunity to pass up. On June 4, 1963, Hefner was arrested for promoting obscene literature after he published an issue of Playboy, featuring nude shots of Jane Mansfield in bed with a man present. The case went to trial, and resulted in a hung jury. In the 1960s, Hefner created private key clubs that were racially diverse. In 1970, Hefner stated that militant feminists are unalterably opposed to the romantic boy-girl society that Playboy promotes, and ordered an article in his magazine against them. In 2012, Hefner announced that his youngest son, Cooper, would succeed him as the public face of Playboy. Hefner was known to friends and family simply as Hef. He married Northwestern University student Mildred Millie Williams in 1949. They had a daughter named Christy and a son, David. Before the wedding, Mildred confessed that she'd had an affair while he was away in the army. He called the admission the most devastating moment of my life. A 2006 True Hollywood Story profile of Hefner revealed that Mildred allowed him to have sex with other women out of guilt for her own infidelity and in the hope that it would preserve their marriage. The couple divorced in 1959. Hefner remade himself as a bon vivant and man about town, a lifestyle that he promoted in his magazine and TV shows. He admitted to being involved with maybe 11 out of 12 months' worth of playmates during some years. Donna Michelle, Marilyn Cole, Lillian Muller, Shannon Tweed, Barbie Benton, Karen Christie, Sondra Theodore, and Carrie Lee were a few of his many lovers. Lee filed a $35 million palimony suit against him. In 1971, he acknowledged that he experimented in bisexuality. Also in 1971, he established a second residence in Los Angeles with the acquisition of Playboy Mansion West, and moved there permanently from Chicago in 1975. On March 7, 1985, Hefner had a minor stroke at age 58, whereupon he re-evaluated his lifestyle, making several changes. He toned down the wild, all-night parties. Also, daughter Christy took over the operation of Playboy's commercial operations in 1988. The following year, he married Playmate of the Year Kimberly Conrad. They were 36 years apart in age. The couple had sons Marston, Glenn, and Cooper. The True Hollywood Story profile noted that the Playboy Mansion had been transformed into a family-friendly homestead. He and Conrad separated in 1998, after which she moved into the house next door to the mansion. Hefner filed for divorce from Conrad in 2009, after an 11-year separation, citing irreconcilable differences. He stated that he only remained nominally married to her for the sake of their children, and their youngest child had just turned 18. The divorce was finalized in 2010. Hefner became known for moving an ever-changing coterie of young women into the Playboy Mansion, including twins Mandy and Sandy Bentley. He dated as many as 7 women concurrently. He also dated Brand Roderick, Isabella St. James, Tina Marie Jordan, Holly Madison, Bridget Marquardt, and Kendra Wilkinson. Madison, Wilkinson, and Marquardt appeared on The Girls Next Door, depicting their lives at the Playboy Mansion. In October 2008, all 3 of them decided to leave the mansion. In January 2009, Hefner began a relationship with Crystal Harris. She joined the Shannon twins after his previous #1 girlfriend Holly Madison had ended their 7-year relationship. On December 24, 2010, he became engaged to Harris, but she broke off their engagement on June 14, 2011, 5 days before their planned wedding. The July issue of Playboy reached store shelves and customers' homes within days of the wedding date. It featured Harris on the cover, and in a photo spread as well. The headline on the cover read, "Introducing America's Princess, Mrs. Crystal Hefner." Hefner and Harris subsequently reconciled, and married on December 31, 2012. Hefner's brother Keith died at age 87 on April 8, 2016, one day before Hefner's 90th birthday. In January 2016, the Playboy mansion was put on the market for $200 million on condition that Hugh Hefner would continue to work and live in the mansion. Later that year it was sold to Darren Metroplos, a principal at private equity firm Metroplos & Company, for $100 million. Metroplos planned to reconnect the Playboy mansion property with a neighboring estate that he purchased in 2009, combining the two for a 7.3-acre 3-hectare compound as his own private residence. In May 2017, Eugenia Washington was the last Playmate of the Year to be announced by Hugh Hefner at the Playboy mansion. Suzanne Moore wrote in The Guardian that Hefner threatened to file a lawsuit against her for calling him a pimp. Defending her position, Moore argued that he was a man who bought and sold women to other men. She further stated that part of Hefner's business acumen was to make the selling of female flesh respectable and hip, to make soft porn acceptable. Julie Bindel argued in The Independent that Hefner caused immeasurable damage by turning porn, and therefore the buying and selling of women's bodies, into a legitimate business. Robin Abkarian wrote in the Los Angeles Times, quoting Wendy Hamilton, that Hefner probably did more to mainstream the exploitation of women's bodies than any other figure in American history, adding that he managed to convince many women that taking off their clothes for men's pleasure was not just empowering, but a worthy goal in itself. She further stated that Hefner embodied the aesthetic notion that images of women and women themselves exist to please men. Hefner's former girlfriend Holly Madison said that he would encourage competition and body image issues between his multiple living girlfriends. His legacy is full of evidence of the exploitation of women for professional gain. Ed. Stetzer wrote in Christianity Today that Hefner would have the residence systematically cleaned whenever Christy Hefner visited, in order to keep the realities from his own daughter. Stetzer further lamented the consequences of Hefner's role as a general of the sexual revolution. Hefner died at the Playboy mansion on September 27, 2017, at the age of 91. The cause was sepsis brought on by an E. coli infection. He is interred at Westwood Memorial Park in Los Angeles in the crypt beside Marilyn Monroe, for which he paid $75,000 in 1992. Spending eternity next to Marilyn is an opportunity too sweet to pass up, Hefner had told the Los Angeles Times in 2009. We hope you have enjoyed this life story, and make sure you subscribe to get our daily life stories. Goodbye for now.